Hey there, welcome back to the channel where we dive into the wildest, most jaw-dropping stories from everyday life, the kind that make you laugh, cringe, and maybe even rethink your neighbors. Picture this: a guy named Mike, just your average Joe in a quiet suburban cul-de-sac in Columbus, Ohio, who loves nothing more than firing up his grill on a Saturday, cold beer in hand, country music humming in the background. But what happens when his pride and joy barbecue, a gleaming, top-of-the-line beast, vanishes from his backyard, only to reappear at the slickest party in town, hosted by the neighbor he thought he could trust? This is Mike's story, a roller coaster of betrayal, backyard drama, and a fight for justice that'll leave you picking sides. So, Mike's the kind of guy who lives for the simple stuff: a good burger, a laugh with his kids, and those long summer evenings where the smell of charcoal and sizzling steaks pulls everyone together. He'd saved up for months to buy this grill, a $1,200 stainless steel monster with all the fixings: 3 burners, a smoker box, even a rotisserie for when he felt fancy. To Mike, it wasn't just a grill, it was his ticket to being the king of the cul-de-sac, the guy who could turn a random weekend into a memory his family and friends would talk about for years. Every Saturday, his modest backyard in this cookie-cutter neighborhood transformed into the place to be. His wife, Jenny, would whip up her famous coleslaw. Their 2 kids would chase each other around the swing set, and neighbors would wander over, drawn by the mouth-watering aroma. Mike was in his element, flipping burgers, perfecting his ribs, even trying his hand at smoked brisket that got a nod from Old Man Jenkins, the pickiest eater on the block. Life was good, man, real good. Enter Greg, the neighbor 3 houses down. Greg was one of those guys who always seemed to have a little too much charm, like a used car salesman who could talk his way into any conversation. He'd show up to Mike's barbecues, beer in hand, cracking jokes, complimenting the food, but never once invite Mike over to his place. Mike didn't think much of it. Greg was friendly enough, always asking about the grill, running his hands over its shiny surface, saying stuff like, "Man, this thing's a beast, bet it cost a fortune, huh?" Mike, being the open book he was, would grin and rattle off the specs, proud as hell, oblivious to the way Greg's eyes lingered just a little too long. Mike had big plans that summer: a massive 4th of July barbecue to bring the whole neighborhood together. He was picturing it all: red, white, and blue streamers, kids waving sparklers, and his grill churning out enough food to feed an army. He spent weeks tweaking recipes, testing marinades, and even practicing his speech to welcome everyone. Jenny was all in, helping with the menu, while the kids made goofy signs that said "Best Barbecue in Ohio." It was going to be epic, the kind of party people would talk about at the next HOA meeting. But then, one Sunday morning, everything changed. Mike stepped outside with his coffee, expecting to clean up after the previous night's family cookout. The air still smelled faintly of hickory smoke, but something was off. He scanned the yard, heart sinking as he realized his grill, his baby, was gone. Just vanished. No tire marks, no broken fence, just an empty patch of grass where it used to sit. He checked the garage, the shed, even under the damn deck, thinking maybe he'd lost his mind and moved it. Nothing. A cold knot formed in his gut. Someone had taken it. Mike went door to door, asking if anyone had seen anything weird. Most neighbors just shrugged, offering sympathy, but no leads. Maybe it was a prank, one said. Kids these days, you know. Mike called the cops, but the officer was blunt. No evidence, no witnesses, no case. "If you find something solid, give us a call," the guy said, already halfway out the door. Mike was gutted, replaying that night over and over, wondering how someone could have pulled this off without a sound. Then, a week later, the plot thickened. At the neighborhood book club, yeah, Mike's not a member, but Jenny and a couple of ladies started raving about this amazing barbecue Greg had thrown. "You should have seen it," Jenny once said. "Steaks cooked to perfection, ribs so tender they fell off the bone. And that grill? Oh my God, it was like something out of a magazine." Jenny froze, glancing at Mike, who felt his stomach twist. Greg? The guy who'd never even owned a Weber? Mike's mind raced. It couldn't be, could it? He started noticing things. Greg, who used to wave from his driveway, now ducked inside whenever Mike walked by. At the mailbox, he'd mutter a quick, "Hey," and bolt. Mike's suspicion grew, gnawing at him like a bad tooth. He had to know. So, one Saturday, when he heard music and laughter coming from Greg's backyard, he made his move. Heart pounding, He peeked over the fence, and there it was. His grill, shining like a trophy in the middle of Greg's patio, was surrounded by a crowd of neighbors holding plates of food. Mike's blood boiled. Without thinking, he pushed through the gate, storming into the party. "Greg," he shouted, voice shaking with rage. "That's my grill, and you know it." The music stopped. Guests turned, wide-eyed, as Greg, tongs in hand, smirked like he'd been expecting this. "Mike, buddy, what's this about?" he said, all calm and condescending. "This is my grill. Bought it fair and square." Mike wasn't having it. "Don't play dumb, Greg. I know those scuff marks. That custom thermometer, it's mine." Greg sighed, pulling a crumpled receipt from his pocket and waving it like a flag. "See this? Proof of purchase. Maybe you're confused, man." The crowd murmured, siding with Greg. "Come on, Mike, don't make a scene," one neighbor said. Another chimed in. "Accusing someone like that's not cool." Humiliated, Mike grabbed the receipt, scanned it. It looked real, but something felt off. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, he stormed off, Greg's smug grin burning into his memory. Back home, Mike was a wreck, pacing the living room, muttering about Greg's nerve. Jenny tried to calm him, but he was obsessed. He tore through drawers, desperate for his receipt. After hours, he found it crisp, with the grill's serial number and purchase date. It was his lifeline, proof he wasn't crazy. But before he could confront Greg again, a bombshell hit. An envelope in the mailbox, all official and cold, informed Mike that Greg was suing him for defamation, claiming Mike's baseless accusations had ruined his good name. Mike's hands shook as he read it. This wasn't just about a grill anymore, it was personal. Enter Lisa, a no-nonsense attorney from downtown Columbus who'd seen her share of neighborhood feuds. Mike spilled everything in her office, his voice cracking as he laid out the betrayal. Lisa leaned back, tapping her pen. "Classic move," she said. "Greg's cornered. So he's hitting you with a lawsuit to scare you off. We're going to flip this on him." She laid out the plan. Gather every scrap of evidence, from the receipt to neighbor testimonies, and countersue for theft. Mike dove in, fueled by a mix of anger and hope. He got the store manager to confirm his purchase, serial number, and all. He tracked down neighbors who'd been at Greg's party, coaxing them to describe the grill, the scuff marks, the thermometer, every detail matching his. Lisa built a case like a fortress, ready to bury Greg's lies. Then, days before the trial, Mike hit the jackpot. Driving past a junkyard on the edge of town, he spotted something glinting in the scrap pile. He slammed on the brakes, heart racing. It was his grill, dented, but unmistakable, with the same serial number. The junkyard owner, a gruff guy named Sal, remembered Greg dumping it, saying he didn't need it anymore. Sal signed a statement, and Mike had his smoking gun. The trial was a showdown. Greg's lawyer painted Mike as a hothead, waving that fake receipt like it was gospel. But Lisa was a shark, picking apart Greg's story, exposing holes in the receipt's authenticity. She presented Mike's evidence, the original receipt, the store's verification, neighbor testimonies, and Sal's statement about the junkyard. Greg squirmed on the stand, his smooth talk crumbling under Lisa's cross-examination. When the junkyard evidence dropped, the courtroom went silent. Greg's face fell, and Mike knew he'd won. The judge didn't mess around. The grill was Mike's, no question. Greg was guilty of theft, forgery, and defamation, hit with hefty fines, and ordered to pay Mike for legal fees and emotional distress. As the gavel fell, Mike felt a weight lift, not just relief, but triumph. Greg slunk out, his charm shattered, while Mike walked tall, vindicated. Word spread fast. Greg became the neighborhood pariah, kids whispering "grill thief" as he packed up and moved away, his house sold in a hurry. Mike? He was a hero. With the compensation, he bought a new grill, bigger, fancier, the kind that made jaws drop. He threw the 4th of July party he'd dreamed of, the cul-de-sac packed with neighbors, music blaring, his new grill churning out food like a champ. People toasted Mike's grit, his refusal to back down. "You showed him, man," Jenkins said, raising a beer. For Mike, it wasn't just a party, it was a reclaiming of his place, his pride, his community. Looking back, Mike learned something big. Truth doesn't always win easily, but it wins hard. The neighborhood changed, too. People looking out for each other more, less quick to judge. But here's the thing, and I want to hear your take: was Mike right to storm into Greg's party like that? Or did he play into Greg's trap? Could he have handled it differently? Or was going full cowboy the only way? Drop a comment. Tell me what you'd do if your neighbor pulled a stunt like this. Hit that like button if you're Team Mike, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you laugh, gasp, and maybe check your backyard a little closer. See you in the next one.